Hi, and thank you for tuning in to the latest Hurricane Tracker app video update recorded Tuesday, August 25th, 2015 at 12:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Well, good morning, and thank you for staying up late if you are to watch this video. If not, you're waking up Tuesday morning. Happy Tuesday to you. Well, the 2015 Atlantic hurricane season is moving along pretty quickly this week. Within the last 24 hours, Tropical Storm Danny dissipated into a remnant area of low pressure there in the Eastern Caribbean Sea. And then just a couple of hours ago, the National Hurricane Center began advisories and upgraded Invest 98L to Tropical Storm Erika. And usually by this point in the season here in late August, we're on an average season, we're not to the E name yet. So now this puts the season a little bit above average, and that's kind of interesting since this is an El Nino season and was forecast to be below average. Here's a look at the latest infrared satellite loop of newly formed Tropical Storm Erika. A couple of things to take away. Erika is much larger than Danny was. It has a larger footprint, a bigger circulation, a larger area of tropical storm force winds. And it's starting to get that circular look tonight, meaning that this system may start an intensification phase, which would not be surprising here on the day throughout the day on Tuesday. And we have great outflow in the on the northern side and the southern side of the storm. And just overall, it's a great looking storm and has developed pretty quickly throughout the day today. Here's the first forecast track and advisory from the National Hurricane Center. Currently, Erika is a 45-mile-per-hour tropical storm. It's moving towards the west at 20 miles per hour, and that's really fast for a tropical cyclone. Usually for storms to really organize and intensify, they should usually are moving a lot slower. If you remember when Danny formed out here, the National Hurricane Center had forecasted winds of 100 miles an hour, and a lot of that was because Danny was moving slower. It had more time to take advantage of the warm water and really tighten up and intensify. But Erika's moving a lot faster, so overall, the National Hurricane Center does forecast an intensification of the storm from a 60-mile-per-hour tropical storm by the time we get into Tuesday afternoon, and then peaking out at a 70-mile-per-hour tropical storm by the time the system is located here somewhere in the Bahamas on Saturday. We do see the forecast track does take it through the northern portions of the Lesser Antilles and just scrapes northeastern Puerto Rico. We do expect that by sometime later today, tropical storm watches and warnings will likely be issued again for the same areas they were for Tropical Storm Danny. Now, it is important to note the National Hurricane Center is forecasting a west-northwest track, but Erika is actually moving towards the west. The further west Erika goes, the more chance it would have down the road of interacting with the mountains of Hispaniola and the other islands there in the Caribbean. So if this storm is going to take this track sooner rather than later, it is going to need to start moving more towards the west-northwest. So that's something we're going to be watching very closely here in the short term. But if we extend this track out, now of course the National Hurricane Center is only going out this far, but this storm could actually get a lot closer to Florida and the southeastern United States, which we'll look at in a little more depth here in just a moment. Let me pull up some additional images here from the Hurricane Tracker app. So you can see Tropical Storm Erika. This is kind of a zoomed out view of the satellite. Again, it's a very large storm, very impressive looking tropical storm. And again, throughout the day today, it has continued to develop, and it's located about 950 miles east of the Lesser Antilles. This is a unique product and map that's issued here only at the Hurricane Tracker app. It's our long-range impact chance map. So it kind of gives you an indication of what are the chances of Erika moving in my direction and possibly impacting me. By impact, we mean at least outer bands affecting one given area. So we have a team of specialists here at the Hurricane Tracker app, and we're constantly looking over analogs. Computer model runs every 6 hours. We're looking at real-time trends. We're looking at the water temperatures, the wind shear. We're looking at the forecast from the Hurricane Center. So we're putting all of this together into a numerical number. So obviously, chances are highest here in the Caribbean Sea, where we have 40 to 60% chances of being impacted by a tropical cyclone. 37% around Dominican Republic and Haiti, 10% chances for Western Cuba. And right now, as of today, we're going with a 1 in 4 chance that the forecast track of Erika as a tropical cyclone into the Bahamas will verify. And we're even running 10 to 15% chances here over the Florida Peninsula that Erika could eventually impact that region down the road. So we can't close the door on the eastern Gulf of Mexico. We can't close the door on a recurvature path where it could possibly affect Bermuda. And we even have some single-digit percentages here along the Georgia and Carolina coastlines. So really anyone from the Outer Banks down through Florida, the central and eastern Gulf, obviously down through Cuba, the Bahamas, and the areas here in the northern and eastern Caribbean Sea. Please continue to follow future forecast here of Tropical Storm Erika, as it does have a greater chance of getting farther westward than Tropical Storm Danny did. So that leads us to our 5-day alert levels. Obviously, we've issued elevated alert levels in the orange category. I know it may be kind of hard to see on your picture there, but there's still a little bit of uncertainty as to whether or not Erika will remain a tropical cyclone, as the European and the GFS models, two of the best, are actually weakening this into a remnant low before it even reaches the eastern Caribbean Sea. And this is similar to what they did with Danny, which actually verified as, Danny became a remnant low down here in this area. So it's just something we're keeping an eye on, and that's why we haven't gone to the high or imminent categories yet in this region. And of course, throughout the Bahamas, Cuba, Hispaniola, we have guarded levels because you're closer to the forecast path here in the short term. And then, like I said, really anyone in the eastern Gulf up through Key West, up through the Outer Banks, and even over towards Bermuda, still low chances of being impacted by this system in the long range. This just means be on alert, that this storm is out there. Just kind of know what it's doing. Check in with the forecast at least once a day right now, and just keep an eye on this system as it heads off towards the west-northwest. Based on the current track and intensity forecast from the National Hurricane Center, we could see tropical storm force winds of at least 40 miles per hour scrape the northern and northeastern portions of the Lesser Antilles, the Virgin Islands, and maybe even the northern coast or northeastern coast of Puerto Rico here over the next few days. Here's the latest computer models. Overall, very good agreement on a west-northwesterly track. Computer models here aren't really showing any big turns to the north at the moment. And again, we'll look at the steering pattern in just a moment. But really, if this storm is able to track just north of the islands, it could be in a fairly favorable environment to strengthen. Let's look at the current wind shear analysis. I know we looked at this a lot with Danny, but right now the storm is located in a favorable zone as far as wind shear is concerned. It is decreasing in this area, but we do see some wind shear still in the around the 30-knot range here over the eastern Caribbean Sea. Wind shear is still forecasted to be in this area around Wednesday when Erika is forecasted to be in this region. But the difference between Danny and Erika is a lot bigger storm. It's moving a lot faster. So it's going to have a better chance of surviving any wind shear zones that may be out here. Now, of course, it will still help weaken the storm, but it may not weaken fully into a remnant low as the European and GFS models are depicting. But again, that's something that we're keeping a very close eye. We'll keep watching those future model runs to see if they do show a stronger storm down the road. You can see there's not a lot of wind shear currently over the Bahamas. That's usually the case. This has been a favorable portion for tropical storms to develop and intensify here in the basin. So if Erika can somehow get up into this region, definitely would have a great chance to intensify. The H-Wharf model, which performed very good with Danny, is actually showing a Category 2, Category 3 hurricane moving west-northwest to the Bahamas late this week. So that can't be fully discounted. But we can't also fully discount the fact that the European and GFS are taking Erika as a remnant low here just north of Puerto Rico. So still, there's a lot of uncertainty as far as the track and intensity. But we like to look at trends. When we're looking at the long range, we want to look at the trends. And one of the sayings in meteorology is the trend is your friend. Over the last several computer model runs, the models are showing a developing strong area of high pressure, ridge of high pressure. The winds flow around it counterclockwise. Troughs of low pressure and ridges of high pressure are the main drivers that steer these tropical cyclones. So if we have a high pressure ridge located here between the Outer Banks of Bermuda, follow the wind bars from east to west, and whatever is down here, whether it's an open wave, a depression, tropical storm, or hurricane, would likely track towards the west-northwest. Now, the way this ridge is oriented and how strong it is going to eventually determine what happens to a possible tropical cyclone that may be located here. If the ridge is stronger and tilted more this way, it could push it into the Gulf. If the ridge is tilted more like this, we could see a track into the Carolina coastline somewhere. If the ridge is weakening as the storm is moving in the area, or the hurricane is really strong, creating its own environment, it could create a weakness here in the western side of the ridge and still turn towards the north and northeast. So the main driver for where Erika or its remnants are going to track is going to be how strong is this ridge of high pressure and how is it tilted. Most of the major computer models, except the CMC, which hasn't been a good model as of late, the European, the GFS, the HWRF, the Japanese model, they're all showing this ridge of high pressure, but to different degrees and strengths. So we're going to be watching this real closely over future model runs, watching the intensity of the forecast models have Erika as it's moving here north of the islands, if it is able to track north of the islands, and again, how that ridge is tilted and where this storm may track again. So based on what the models are currently showing, a snapshot as of today, we can't close the door on the Gulf, Florida, and I would say right now all the way up through the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Those of you watching up here in the mid-Atlantic up through New England, right now chances are less than 1% that Erika would track that far north, given this potential strong ridge of high pressure. And folks, this is not a 10-day forecast. This is a 4 to 5 day forecast that this ridge is expected to develop in as little as 2 to 3 days, and then strengthen as it heads west on top of the storm. So we're feeling about 60 to 70% confident that whatever is out here left of Erika, or whether it's a hurricane or tropical storm, will be pushed in the general direction of the United States. Of course, we're going to have to watch all of the fine details, the speed of the storm, wind shear, ocean temperatures. They're a lot warmer here in the western part of the basin. That could help the storm really intensify, as the HWRF model is showing. So again, it's always fun to track the tropics. We don't wish for this storm to develop and cause any harm over here. We just want to report the data as we see it and interpret it as we see it as well. Well, I guess that's going to end our video. I think my phone died, and that means it's time for me to hit the hay. We'll be back later today with more blog post, audio updates, a video analysis, and stick around here at the Hurricane Tracker this week as we follow Tropical Storm Erika very closely. Have a good night.